Today on the Tom Kelly Show, my union's on strike, but technically, it's only half on strike. They're not telling you that part. That and other insider secrets as I walk the protest line here for the SAG AFTRA strike tonight on the Tom Kelly Show.
What do we want? If we don't get it, shut it down. What do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it, shut it down.
Trigger warning, spoiler alert. When is someone going to break some legs? You are experiencing an on-strike protesty edition of the Tom Kelly Show. So, if you guys have been following me and following Hollywood, you know that SAG AFTRA, which stands for the Screen Actors Guild, which combined 10 years ago with the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, that's the union that represents actors, is on strike against a lot of the major Hollywood studios. And also the Writers Guild of America is on strike against anybody that has a TV screen and requires writing. This is the universal code for writing, me wiggling my fingers. I'm going to say this clearly now. I don't think the strike is strikey enough. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, the strike is gone 90 days for the writers and 30 days for the TV hosts and the TV personalities. It's just not a powerful strike, people. And I say this as a member of the SAG AFTRA union. First of all, SAG AFTRA, it's a partial strike. It's really a strike that represents half of the members. It represents the cool kids in the club. If you cannot do a movie if you're in SAG AFTRA, you cannot participate in I think it's high-end TV shows. So if like you're doing a drama or something like that, I think then you're on strike. But right now, the daytime talk shows, not on strike. The radio personalities around this country, not on strike. Daytime talk show hosts and soap opera stars, not on strike. News personalities, not on strike. So you're not really feeling the strike. Actually, the late night talk shows, the actors are not on strike. The writers are on strike, but that's different. So like when you see Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, or, those talk shows on strike, they're on strike out of solidarity with the writers. So they can be on screen as an actor. And the other thing that kills those shows is one consequence of the SAG AFTRA strike is if you're an actor like Margot Robbie or Jake Gyllenhaal or the guy who played Oppenheimer, you can't go on a talk show to promote your movie. Fine. Ooh, very strikey. Actually, that's a big one with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now. Is that it's your old favorite cartoon, the Heroes in a Half Shell Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Anyway, those guys are on strike. The actors are on strike that play the voices. So now the Hollywood production companies are trying to find ways to promote the movie without using all the stars in the movie. So, there is a hit there. But I don't know. I think the world has changed. I say this as a union member. I say this as a guy who believes in the protections of unions. I say this as a man who knows the guy. We have unions because some big companies made a lot of money off of movies and TV shows, and legend has it, I don't know if this story is correct, but a lot of people made money off Gilligan's Island, and yet the actors who played the 7 castaways on that show died moderately poor when you consider that show was getting rerun 3 times a day all across the country. And somebody was making money off it still. I just don't think this work stoppage is bringing producers to the table. The strike has to get crazier. Like right now we have all these writers and celebrities and no-name actors walking around on picket lines outside of offices, but they're not really calling for anything. You want to really shut down Hollywood? You start telling everybody to stop watching television. Hollywood actors, start telling people to start canceling their Netflix accounts. Start telling everybody to cancel their Disney Plus. Start telling everybody to cancel their Netflix. But nobody wants to do that because nobody wants to be the big a-hole who really hurts someone that they're going to end up getting money from in the wallet. That's a dangerous thing about these strikes is, you know, somebody has to be the social justice warrior who destroys their own career for it. You know, you don't see Fran Drescher, the nanny. I mean, you know, some people say she's doing a great job. I'm indifferent on her stance. But she's saying, in nanny voice, by the way. You would think that voice would shut down Hollywood at the negotiating table. But yeah, that's all I can do for the nanny. Yeah, I can only do the tones, if that. And I grew up on Long Island. But my point is, you know, there's just so much content out there. Nobody really notices that there is a strike right now. I mean, like right now, if you want news, you know, oh my gosh, it's a repeat of the talk shows that would be a repeat anyway during the summer. If I want newsy jokes, I'm just going to TikTok now anyway. You know, instead of getting my newsy, jokey jokes from Fallon and Colbert and Kimmel, I'm just getting them free from regular guys on TikTok. I mean, right now, I'm getting my Long Island serial killer jokes from a man named Long Island Wise Guy. There's your return plug, friend. You know, I mean, you know, I think there needs to be the nuclear option here. You know, I have friends who are union members. They're striking against the major Hollywood studios while taking pictures of their families as they go out to see the Barbie movie. You know, I said this on the Writers podcast. I think there's just been too much content created over the last 5 years. How do I know? I've watched, there are like 5 new Star Trek shows on Paramount Plus. Too much, people. And honestly, half of the stuff being written right now is crap. Like, I mean, added a 5 Star Trek shows on TV. Star Trek Lower Decks, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and if I didn't say Picard, add that as number 5, if not 4. But 4 shows about Star Trek on air, same time. It's a lot of stuff being produced, a lot of stuff I haven't seen yet. I mean, like right now, man, I mean, we're on strike. I still haven't seen 2 seasons of Stranger Things. I am not caught up on Downton Abbey. Never watched that one. Never watched Mad Men. And right now, people, I'm watching Suits. I'm only on season 3. That Meghan Markle, she's going places, people. You know, listen, when I was a kid, and I want to be careful, when I was a kid, I would hear stories about the working class strikers who would go on strike and they would destroy a company. What? The cereal factory doesn't want to pay us union wages? We're going to stand outside. We're going to throw things at the cars of anybody who drives in. And so help me God, if I see anybody eating that brand of cereal that I am striking against, I'm going to make sure they choke on that cereal. Now, I'm not advocating physical violence, but I mean, listen, I say this as a SAG AFTRA member. I've called SAG AFTRA with complaints about things, about how my business is changing. And they're like, well, we'll address it one day. You know, there was no wildcat strike. There's no protest line. You know, they're like, we can't tell you what we're doing about it, but whatever. But when it's the cool kids' turn to strike, you know, when it's the big money people, then it's like, hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. You know, I don't know, man. I mean, right now, I think SAG AFTRA needs to either get tougher quick before people stop caring. Because now what you're starting to see is the ancillary damage. It's not just the writers and actors who are on strike. It's the caterer not making enough money. It's the stagehands suddenly realizing, well, we haven't been to work for a while and I'm not getting anything out of this. You know, and right now, I mean, I get residuals, but there's a lot of people getting hurt who don't get residuals. The stagehands make a good check initially, but they don't get residuals if Gilligan's Island takes off, and I need a better example than that. What's another good example? I don't know, Stranger Things. Yeah, the writers aren't getting residuals for every time Stranger Things gets played. And this is the thing, too. we're fighting for the hit shows. There's some of these shows are just real disasters, But listen, man, here's the problem with any union. There's a lot of people willing to give it away for free under the guise of reality shows and documentaries. Yes, the good reality stars are sort of realizing they're getting underpaid. The Real Housewives are starting to pool together for more money. But I have a friend Darren Page, she's been on the podcast in the earliest episodes before we were doing video. And, Darren told me what she made to be on the Jersey Shore spinoff. I mean, we're talking 4 digits, and you're risking putting your image out there, saying something stupid and racist and never being able to work a real job again when you do a reality show. Producers are ready to go produce that stuff. What's another good, reality is a potential thing. Documentaries. Documentaries are big on Netflix. There's a big documentary on the mermaid community right now. Are any of those people who put out to the universe, I am willing to swim around in my public park in a mermaid tail, getting any money off that? Any money off that? No, but we're all watching it and paying money towards it. And then we're trying to figure out what are writers and actors fighting for right now. Fair pay, executive pay, too much executive pay. I'm with you on all this stuff. But the only real issue I see resonating with the average human being is we don't want AI writing our shows, and we don't want AI acting in our shows. There's a lot of people out there who've already been replaced by robots who don't care about us right now. I've said this on the podcast before, but I'm saying it again. Nobody cared when robots replaced bank tellers. That's going back to the 1970s. Right now, we're all complaining about self-checkout, but nobody's outside your local grocery store with a sign saying rehire the $5 to $15 an hour grocery store clerk. And while we're at it, bring back the damn baggers too. We're not. Grocery clerks are getting replaced by robots. Why not you? Why not me? So my feeling is SAG AFTRA, you have to go after the wallets. You have to start challenging people to cancel their subscriptions in solidarity with the unions. Will people do it? I don't know. SAG AFTRA, you got to challenge people to get off TikTok because they're just stealing our content. They're stealing our content, and guys like me are giving it away for free in the hopes of getting it discovered. You got to get people off that. Honestly, there should be a strike against this podcast. I have a few thousand viewers and listeners who, instead of watching Jimmy Fallon tonight, are experiencing this podcast, and I am giving it away for free. Why isn't there a protest outside my apartment? I mean, I'm rambling, people, but they have to step it up, man. We have to step it up. Basically I'm saying SAG AFTRA should be telling America, SAG AFTRA and the Writers Guild should be telling people, don't go to movies. Don't watch any TV shows, cancel your streaming service, and go read a book until we solve this. And we're not asking for that because I don't think there's a public out there willing to support us on that. I mean, honestly, man, I'm not canceling my Netflix until I see how the TV show Suits ends. Again, that actress, Meghan Markle, she looks like she's going places. Very curious to see where it goes. Because anyway, I had this great little sentence at the end. Because listen, folks, here's the deal about this whole protest thing. Adorable signs on the protest line are only going to go so far. And that's all I have to say on this issue, folks. Listen, my name is Tom Kelly. I'm a stand-up comedian who is owning his midlife crisis and talking about things that are interesting to me. This is the proverbial self-help podcast. This is the podcast where... yeah, man. I'm trying to figure out a little bit more about myself and trying to find some answers. So new podcast guaranteed every Monday and Wednesday, and lots of snippets and other content on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts, all as Tom Kelly Show. I have a big show at Governor's September 29th. I believe that's a Friday in the Giggle Room. Check my website for that information, TomKellyShow.com. And most importantly, thank you for the support. Quick magic mirror time. I see the gang at Long Island Reels who have been sharing my content and helping me build up a following on Long Island. And I see you. Good night, New York.